The NFL's newest lightning rod, Shedeur Sanders, steps up to the podium in Cleveland, the flashbulbs flickering like strobe lights. Every sports network is tuned in, every reporter ready to pounce on the headline of the week. But when the first question lands, there's no witty quote, no charming grin, no sound at all. Shedeur moves his lips, slow, precise, deliberate, but no voice comes out. The room freezes. Reporters exchange glances, wondering if the microphone is broken. Then it happens again, and again. He's mouthing answers without uttering a word. Within minutes, every social feed from ESPN to Twitter lights up in disbelief. Cleveland's rookie quarterback has just staged the quietest rebellion in NFL history. What should have been a routine press conference turned into an act of silent defiance that rocked the league from Berea to New York. The NFL lives on soundbites, confident quarterbacks, talking leadership, accountability, and next week matchups. But Shedeur refused to play the game. Instead, he flipped it upside down, forcing the league to confront its own obsession with control. Because in a business built on voices, his silence was deafening. The Browns' quarterback room was already teetering before this moment. Joe Flacco, the old veteran, knew his best days were behind him, hanging on for one last contract and mentoring gig. Dillon Gabriel, the rookie darling, was the media's safe pick, humble, polished, uncontroversial. And then came Shedeur, a lightning bolt wrapped in swagger, the son of a legend, carrying his father's charisma and the weight of an entire brand. Cleveland hadn't seen this kind of tension since Baker Mayfield's meltdown days, but this time it wasn't about performance. It was about control. When Shedeur silently mouthed his responses, it wasn't an accident. This was no technical glitch or awkward stunt. It was strategic, calculated, a way to protect himself from the very machine designed to twist his every word. His relationship with the media had always been tense. Growing up as Deion Sanders' son, every syllable he spoke was dissected, criticized, turned into clickbait. So when Shedeur stepped to that mic, he made a decision. If they were going to twist his words, he'd give them none to twist. But the NFL doesn't take kindly to rebellion. Within hours, the league office was buzzing. Reports leaked that senior executives viewed the act as a direct mockery of press obligations, a sacred part of the NFL's image. Words like unprofessional and unacceptable started flying around. By the end of the day, the story had reached the commissioner's desk. What looked like a quirky rookie stunt was now a league-wide controversy. The Cleveland Browns suddenly found themselves in the middle of a media inferno. Inside the facility, the fallout was immediate. Head coach Kevin Stefanski and GM Andrew Berry were blindsided. The Browns had spent months crafting a clean, united front, a franchise on the rise after years of instability. Now that image was burning alive on every sports network. League officials reportedly called ownership directly, demanding answers. Some insiders even whispered about potential fines for violating media policy. To them, Shedeur hadn't just embarrassed Cleveland, he'd challenged the NFL's entire hierarchy. Joe Flacco, ever the stoic veteran, wasn't pleased either. Privately, he voiced frustration that his position room was turning into a circus. To him, the press conference was a place for composure, not theatrics. Dillon Gabriel's camp, meanwhile, stayed quiet, almost too quiet, perhaps sensing opportunity in the chaos. And as the headlines raged and speculation grew, Shedeur walked into practice the next day like nothing had happened. Headphones on, eyes forward, unbothered. That calm, that refusal to react, only fueled the fire. Analysts accused him of arrogance. ESPN replayed the footage on loop. Stephen A. Smith practically exploded on first take, shouting, "You can't walk into the NFL and refuse to speak. That's not leadership, that's defiance." On the flip side, Pat McAfee laughed, calling it the most college move of all time, but admitted he respected Shedeur for protecting himself from the media circus. The fan base split right down the middle. Half defended him, saying he was setting boundaries in a league that chews players up and spits them out. The other half said he was immature, dragging a desperate franchise back into dysfunction. Rival fan bases had a field day. Steelers and Ravens fans filled social media with memes, Silent Sanders, the QB who won't talk. Even mainstream journalists piled on, calling his behavior a disgrace and warning that the league might restrict his future media access altogether. But what no one expected was how quickly the chaos on camera would seep onto the field. By the next practice, everything in Cleveland felt different. Coaches barked a little louder. Every throw, every glance between quarterbacks felt loaded. Suddenly, Shedeur's reps started shrinking. Dylan Gabriel began getting more first-team looks, and Flacco was praised as the steady veteran presence keeping order. To some, it looked like punishment, a quiet message from management. Challenge the system, and the system will humble you. Still, even with fewer snaps, Shedeur shined. One insider claimed he threaded a 30-yard dart between defenders during a 2-minute drill so perfect that teammates gasped. Some players, especially the younger ones, began rallying behind him, whispering that he was the only one bold enough to push back against the machine. "He's real," one reportedly said. "He's not fake for cameras." That kind of loyalty is dangerous, not because it's wrong, but because it divides locker rooms. The Browns' quarterback battle, once about arm strength and accuracy, was now about politics. The front office favored compliance. The locker room craved authenticity. Shedeur had become both a symbol and a target, the face of rebellion inside an organization that hates noise. Stefanski tried to keep things professional, insisting the team stay focused on football, but that phrase meant nothing now. Football was the chaos. Every dropback felt like a referendum on leadership. The league's reaction didn't help. Reports suggested the commissioner's office privately warned the Browns to tighten conduct in media sessions. Translation: silence your quarterback, or we'll do it for you. For a head coach already fighting for his job, this was a nightmare. For a front office juggling pressure from ownership, it was a crisis. But for Shedeur, it was confirmation. Proof that the league's power structure was as controlling as he believed. The situation became cultural, not just competitive. Players whispered about favoritism. Fans debated loyalty versus professionalism. Local radio shows spent hours dissecting his every move. Even ticket sales and fan events reportedly felt the ripple effect. Cleveland, a city starved for stability, was once again drowning in drama. And at the center of it all stood Shedeur Sanders, unmoved, unapologetic, unshaken. He wasn't just fighting for a starting job, he was fighting for control over his own narrative. And in the modern NFL, that's a battle few ever win. Because once a quarterback controversy goes cultural, it doesn't go away. It festers, it divides, it poisons from the inside. The Browns thought they were juggling 3 quarterbacks. What they were really juggling was dynamite, and Shedeur was holding the match. By the time the dust began to settle, the damage was done. The Browns' clean, disciplined image was cracked. The league's media protocols were questioned. And Shedeur Sanders had turned one press conference into a statement that will follow him for years. He didn't need to speak to make noise. His silence said everything. Whether you see it as genius or immaturity depends on which side of the field you stand on. But one thing is certain, the NFL will never forget it. A rookie didn't just refuse to answer questions. He refused to play the league's game. And in doing so, he changed the rules entirely. Now the question is yours. Was Shedeur Sanders protecting himself from a manipulative media machine? Or did he ignite chaos in Cleveland when the team could least afford it? Drop your thoughts below, and if you're still following this wild NFL saga, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more. Because this story, it's only getting started.